And joining us now from New York to weigh in more on the big picture of what this attack means is Marc Schulman, author of Tel Aviv Diary and a columnist for Newsweek. Good morning to you, Marc. I imagine you caught wind of this news while we were all sleeping in Israel. Tell us what you know.
Okay, I don't know more details than Mike talked about. What I can say is this is part of a long history of attempted political assassinations and, of course, successful assassinations. 4 U.S. presidents have been assassinated over a period of time, and the attempts go all the way back to Andrew Jackson in the 1830s. We also know that President Trump is probably one of the least popular presidents in American history at the current moment. Doesn't mean anyone should assassinate him, but when you have someone who's so unpopular, you can assume there are people who do crazy things. Also, let's keep in mind that over history, most of the attempted assassins and the successful assassins, like less so, are people who have had mental illness of one kind or another. I mean, obviously, assassinating somebody is a terrible thing, but many of them have been proven to be mentally ill. We have the attempted assassin of President Ford spent most of his life in a mental asylum until he was released a few years ago. So we don't know anything about this person's mental state, but unfortunately, there is a long history of political assassinations in the United States. And of course, the United States also has a history of violence in the last decades, and particularly the last few years. All the shootings that we've seen that have taken place. This is, first of all, the guns are easy to get. And look, this was not an assassination that was very bright in terms of being successful. It was a pretty brazen move to think he could force his way through the security corridor outside the event. And that's what he tried to do. He tried to run through and get through into the hall. But of course, the security people were ready and they stopped him. And that would be but what one would assume would take place. In other words, the ability to get inside the secure area is pretty limited, let's put it that way. So he obviously did not think this through very well. Let's put it that way.
And also, no clear, glaring, signs of, political activism. And to choose the White House Correspondents' Dinner, which, is an annual thing and a big deal, is also questionable as to why that event.
Right. There may have been accessibility. We keep in mind the fact that the irony is, of course, this was taking place in the Hilton, which is the same place that President Ronald Reagan, there was an attempted assassination against him at the same place outside the entrance, I believe, to the same hotel.
Wow.
So think about that. President Trump does not leave the White House in Washington, D.C. very often. So this was an opportunity, I guess he saw. It was known in advance. It was scheduled in advance, as opposed, I think, a few times President Trump has left the White House, but it was sudden, so you couldn't expect anything to take place. But look, I think we'll find out that the man is in some ways mentally ill. It's not he may be angry at the President Trump for whatever, but I don't think we'll find any affiliation or anything else. But you never know, obviously.
All right. Thank you very much, Marc, as always.
My pleasure.